All right, welcome back to Business Bliss Workshop, where we help you achieve more with less effort and more speed. The magic is in the doing, and it's also in the being. So through Business Bliss, we go through 5 keys of manifesting and goal achievement, or as I like to call, conscious co-creating. Ideas, thought, plan, action, and belief. So we've already gone through ideas and thoughts. Today we're going through plan and action. Tomorrow we have a bonus action session, open house networking mastermind session. So that session is not recorded, it's not casted. So the only way you get to participate is come and join us in the Zoom room. And then next week on Monday and Tuesday, we have 2 more bonus sessions. Monday, we are going through belief, which is also a version of heart-led sales, where I'm going to help sell you on your dream, to build your why and build your belief in what you want, because nothing happens unless it is backed by a burning desire, belief, and faith. And then on Tuesday next week, we have an incredible recap session where we're going to go through all of it to see how it all goes together. Now, reminder, Business Bliss has one key rule, and it is to stay in a state of possibility. To stay in a state of possibility, gratitude, peace, abundance, and love. And we're only entertaining the thoughts, feelings, and actions of how we can and why we can instead of why we can't. So reminder, there's 2 sides of the coin. There's your hero's journey, and then there's the victim story. There's no power on the victim story. This is when we're in negativity, fear, worry, doubt, blame, and shame. That's where we aren't taking responsibility. Over here on our hero's journey, we take responsibility for everything, and we release whatever story we're putting along with it. Okay, so everything just is what it is. Nothing's good or bad, right or wrong, big or small, except for what you make it. So everything just is what it is. So we observe it. If something's not working, remember on our hero's journey, we observe and we what? Decide what we would prefer. That, and remember I said if there was a magic thing that you learned this week, it would be I prefer. Observe that negative thought and go cancel, 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 and then go to what you prefer. So on day 1, we generated a new idea. And why? Because that's super important. Without new ideas, we have the same thoughts, which cause the same feelings to cause the same actions to get the same results. And then we look at those same results and we have the same thoughts, the same feelings, the same actions, and we get the same results. 98% of our thoughts, feelings, and actions are unconscious and habitual, which means we do them all over and over and again, and we're all in unconscious loops. And what we want to do is break the cycle. And what we do in this workshop to break the cycle is use this framework, and it kicks off with generating a new idea. So I asked you guys to generate a new idea. And with that new idea, it is the idea that's going to make the biggest difference for you right now. So the one thing you want the most right now that's going to make the biggest difference for you. So I want you to pull out your workbooks. And on the first page of day 3, of course, we're setting our intentions. So the first goal is the first thing you want that's going to make the biggest difference for you right now. And you're going to write it out. And when we write it out, it's in present and positive tense. So if we say, I want to get out of debt, the unconscious mind hears, I want more debt. It doesn't understand double negatives. If we say, I don't want, it literally hears, I want. Okay, so what we would say is, I desire financial freedom, or I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm financially free. And I would also to encourage that you know exactly what number is financial freedom to you. And of course, in present tense. So if we say, I will have, it stays in the future. So it's positive and present. So I'm so happy and grateful now that I am, insert, by, and we're always going to make sure it's time bound. So it has a deadline. Otherwise, it's a mere wish or hope instead of a goal. And then your next 2 goals are one personal, one professional. So as you're writing those out, those are your top 3 desires you're going to put right now for 2025. The first is the one for right now. And then one personal goal and one professional goal. And they're all present and positive. Then you took your number one goal right now and you put it on a goal card, which is in my pocket getting bent. I keep my goal card with a gratitude crystal. And at the end of each day, I hold my crystal and I go through my day and I ask myself, what was the best thing that happened? Because at the beginning of the day, I start the day with, what's the best that can happen? Show me now, universe. And then I actually spend at the end of the day going through the day to harvest the good, because whatever energy you go to sleep in goes into the womb of creation, or what we call the unconscious mind. And then that is how we co-create our next day. And so the joke is that you thought you woke up a free being, but the truth is we actually woke up in the energy that we created yesterday. And then today we get to choose to respond or react, or we change it by doing things like gratitude and writing our goal out, movement, breath work, frequency. All these things help change our energy. Love it. So everyone has their goal card. Now, in session 1, when you did generate a new idea, we started with our big, hairy, audacious goal. So reminder, I do keep my BHAG, my big, hairy, audacious goal, on one side of my card. And then on the other side, I have my year goal. And when I like to visualize, I like to cast myself out into that big goal and then come into the thing I want now. And a reminder, as you're writing those, I want you to feel it, feel it, feel it, like it's already achieved. Most of the time, people think they are in the state of the goal achieved, or they're thinking about their goal in a positive way, but we're often thinking about, where is the goal? Why isn't it here yet? And we're in a state of seeking, which is lack, instead of abundance and already having it. And so your mind knows no difference between real and imagined. And so when you visualize and think about being in the state of that goal achieved, and yesterday we answered questions to get into the state of the goal achieved, then your mind actually believes it to be true. And it starts to filter the incoming information to help show you examples in your reality of how you can create that. So if you make sure you went through the thought session yesterday, because that's where some people will generate ideas and they cancel it immediately. They have a new idea and they're like, but we talked about but before the session started. And then they never even entertain the thoughts of what it would look and feel like to have their goal. Some people will get into the thought process and then they take themselves out. I'd really like that, but, and I like to call it your Santa sack of shit. It's a shitty sack filled of excuses, reasons, and alibis. And it's this, and bricks, heavy bricks that we carry around with us. And just watch, you'll start to notice who carries it. They are full of butts. I'd really love this butt. And just wait, they are opening that bag and they are ready. They know there's tons in there. And we do it unconsciously. There's no make wrong. And that's the sad part, is the beliefs that we were instilled with, whether it was from culture, TV, society, well-meaning parents, teachers. They give us this belief system as we grow up, which often puts us in an unconscious glass ceiling. So you really want to go up here. Yet there's this unconscious glass ceiling. So I'd love to go there, and so I'll stay here. And so a lot of people will never get past the thought process, which was session 2 yesterday, to entertain the thoughts, feelings, and actions of how it can be, and they'll get stuck on the can'ts, on the victim story. Ideas and thought are in the ether. So how do we bring it into the physical? We put a plan in place and we get into action. So those are the 2 keys we're going to look at today. Now, I hear from a lot of people that they're very busy and overwhelmed. And that is why I love Business Bliss, or teaching our Quantum Leap Blueprint in our programs and with our one-on-one clients, because it's to help you get focused and prioritized. Especially as business owners, as we go through the seasons, we start adding things and adding and adding. But have you paused? What did we talk about earlier this week? To goal, plan, do, review. What's no longer working, we want to get rid of. And what is working, we want to multiply. And if we're not reviewing the plan, we keep adding things in, and all of a sudden we're overwhelmed, and our calendar is filled with things that aren't necessarily moving the needle in the direction of what we want. So remember, your calendar, you are in charge of, and whatever is in it, you are allowing. And whatever is in it, you are trading your life for. So I hope it's worth you. And I want you to really think about that. No day is promised. And so what do you want to fill your calendar with? And we want it to go through the filter of that North Star, that vision that you have. Is it getting me closer to it, or is it getting me farther away? If it's moving me farther away, we got to take it out. And then that's how we can be less busy and overwhelmed, is by removing what's not working and taking what we like to call the quantum leap actions, the actions that breed the largest result in the least amount of time with the least amount of effort. That's going to make everything else easy, unnecessary, or obsolete. So remember that as you go to put your plan and actions into place, we want to move it through that filter. Is it moving me closer to my goal or farther away? And is it going to help me get the largest result in the least amount of time with the least amount of effort and make everything else I always do that, easy or unnecessary? So now let's dive into putting our plans into place. And I just want to note, why I decided to teach plan and action together is because planning is amazing. And a lot of people get stuck in planning. They plan until the cows come home and they write out all these different plans. They just keep reworking their calendar, yet they don't get out there to do the thing. So I encourage messy, imperfect action. I encourage you to get out there to figure out what works and what doesn't work, because only through the doing are you going to figure out what you like, what actually works, and what doesn't work, and what you don't like. So we teach delete, delegate, automate, multiply, or process improve. And this is what we do in our Quantum Leap Blueprint when we goal plan, do review every quarter. And so I want you to think about this as you're building your plan. I want you to also make sure that we move from plan into action. So it could be deleting things, it could be delegating things, it could be automating things, it could be multiplying what's working. It could be like, okay, well, this is good, and it's time for a process improve. We call it white glove service, to always make sure that we're delivering the best experience. And this plan is amazing, but it doesn't really count if you don't get into action. So we're not waiting for everything to be perfect. We're going to build the plane in the air. We're going to take messy, imperfect action. We're going to figure out what works and what doesn't work. And then we're going to rinse and repeat, goal, plan, do, review. And this just reminds me about when I had first started as a kinesiologist. One of my contracts was in a private training facility here in Barrie. And I absolutely loved it. He asked if I would teach the rest of the team what I'd known. I'm specialized in neuro movement, so brain-based exercises to help with many things. So we don't need to get into that. And so I was so excited. I was also studying nutrition, and so I was putting together this presentation, and it was almost done. Always almost done. And he was like, listen, it's never going to be perfect. You have to at least let me look at it and then you can deliver it. But if we stay in that planning stage, we never move forward. And I kept planning and replanning and reworking. And he was like, you're a perfectionist, which often leads to inaction. And so we're going to put plan and action together, and we're going to take messy, imperfect action to figure out what works and what doesn't work. And so the magic is in the doing. So I'm loving the comments in the chat, seeing how we've all met. Yes, I love you guys. You're amazing. And it is cool that I've met a lot of you through this workshop. And many years ago, I've been teaching Business Bliss online in different versions. We had different versions of the workshop. We officially launched Business Bliss in 2021. We taught it for 3 years. Last year, I decided to teach the Own It Masterclass to teach strictly on the unconscious mind. And then I just felt the energy was a little heavy in the world, and that we needed Business Bliss back, that we needed to come back to remind us to own our mind, to own our energy, to own our actions, and to do it from the state of the goal achieved. And the whole thing we're doing all week long is staying in that state of possibility and positivity. And so that's one of the key reasons I brought Business Bliss back. Also, because I love it so much, I do it every time. And I was missing doing it because I know that I would do it every couple of months, and it just creates momentum. It creates such good energy and momentum. And when we can do it regularly, it's so much fun and can keep that ball rolling. So I love that many of us met at Business Bliss, and you're back for more. Isn't it fun? And it's new every time because I'm different. I've studied a lot since the first time I launched it. And this is a completely different workbook. It's now framed with NLP questions, as I'm an NLP timeline therapy and hypnotherapy practitioner. And I've actually done the practitioner course twice because I find it so much value. Okay, so without further ado, let's dive into the workbook and let's get into the plan. So understand, without a plan and action, the dreams stay a someday. So create a plan at once, backed by desire and faith. Grant Cardone has a book called Be Obsessed or Be Average. And I do want to second that, because we have to be obsessed. There has to be a burning desire. And if not, the first obstacle that comes our way is going to take us out. And there are going to be obstacles that come your way. Life is a little bit like a roller coaster, and you need to be able to move through them. And what's going to have you move through them is that why, is that burning desire, is the faith, is the belief. And I promise you it's going to be required. And so it's not just a goal, it's backed by faith, belief, and a burning desire. So like really, really want it. So that's why everyone's going to come back next Monday and build their belief and really start to connect with their why. Because you're going to get rejected, and you need your why to move over that. There's going to be obstacles, and we need that why to move over that. And although everything is always happening for us, and so those things are happening for us to remind us and to create us as the version of us that's going to have the capacity to achieve the goal that we require. So it's building the resilience so that we can be the person we desire to be, so that not only when we get what we want, we have the capacity to maintain it, sustain it, and go beyond it. So decide on your quantum leap action that will help you achieve it, and do it now. So do it now, do it now, do it now. That's going to be part of your homework, okay? Not someday, not maybe. After today's session, you're going to put it in your calendar, you're going to get it done. So first thing, yes, you can do it again, because remember, 25% more likely when you write it out every time, and 40% more quickly to achieve it. So what's that one thing you want the most right now? Go ahead and write it down. Now I want to ask you, if you were to know, what are the next best 3 steps for you to achieve this? This is big picture. So if you were to know, what would be the next best 3 steps? It might be sales, marketing, and PR. The 3 keys: marketing, sales, serving. How do you increase your service? How do you increase your sales? And how do you increase your marketing? Maybe those are going to be your 3 keys. For us right now, we are really in a process improvement stage so that we can scale with ease and onboard new team members. I've made mistakes before of onboarding a team without proper SOPs, and it doesn't support them, me, or the clients. And so before we get into the big scale, we're going through everything and updating standard operating procedures. So that's one of our key things. So what are some of the big concept, big picture things? And the next question is going to help you get into action. And this is why most people don't get into action, is because they keep the big concept. And big concepts like, okay, say you make a container in your calendar and you call it marketing. That's big concept. Then you show up to that power hour in your calendar and you're like, what do I do again? You start scrolling, you're commenting, you think you're marketing, and like a half hour has gone by and you're like, oh, geez, okay, well, I guess I'll make a post now or what have you. And instead, you want to show up to that marketing power hour, that container is what we call it in your calendar, and actually know, okay, in this time, I'm going to do 20 minutes of outbound or sales and marketing power hour. I'm going to engage, I'm going to put up a post. I'm going to engage, I'm going to send outbound messages, and I'm going to do inbound messages. And that is what I'm going to do in the hour. Now, that's totally different than showing up to that container in the calendar that just says marketing. And you spend the first 20 minutes figuring out what you're supposed to do in that time. Does that make sense? So now we want to take it out of the big concept and move it into the small concept. So if you were to know, what are 3 things you can do today and put those containers in your calendar? So we said standard operating procedures. Now that's a chunk up. That's a high level. That's a concept. Sounds really great. I can put a container or time block in my calendar that says work on SOPs. But what if I actually chose one at a time? And I said, okay, you're going to do the document for the podcast SOPs. So I know that in week 1, in that time block, it's going to be for the podcasts. In week 2, it's going to be for the program. And we have different programs and different offers. So I would maybe have a different time block for each one. And I would maybe even make it even more specific. So we have things that happen before the podcast, things that happen during the podcast, and things that happen after the podcast. So maybe that time block, I would break it up into those 3 different tasks of making a standard operating procedure for each 3 of those. So that I know when I show up to that container in my calendar, I know exactly what I'm doing to breed the results that I want. And it sounds simple, yet most of us don't do it. And Bob Proctor calls it the knowing doing gap. We know what to do, and yet often we don't do it. And that's where the limiting beliefs come in and the yeah, buts, I'd like to, but, or we haven't chunked it down to what we could get started with right now. And so it might even sound like, instead of like, here's my SOP and these are the 3 things I'm going to work on, it might sound like first time block, list all the things you do for the podcast and just make a list of the tasks. That's actually the first step in creating your standard operating procedures. So maybe that's what I do. And everybody on day 1, we went through something like that. I asked you what you wanted, and then you made a list of all the things you would need to get done to make that happen. So that's how we're going to start to put the plan into place. Magic, right? Then when you show up to the calendar, we actually have to do the thing. Okay, so that's where we get into action. So I'd love to see in the chat, what's one big concept? And then what is the action, the container that you're breaking it down in your calendar? And so for us, one thing that we are working on is redoing the task lists for all the things that we do in the business. And so that would be the container that goes in my calendar. Now, I already have time blocks for all of these things. We need sales and marketing, serving, operations, management, development, research. So I already have containers in my calendars for these. And then as the weeks go on, I get more precise with my priority list and I update that container so that when I show up, it doesn't just say marketing and sales power hour anymore. It says, dude, reach out to these 10 people, send out this email, and reply to your hot leads and their leads list. Okay, so we want to make that a regular standing container, if that's something that you want, and then you're regularly going to update the container to be specific. Any questions on that? Go ahead, feel free to unmute. Would love to help you or support you, and would love to see some ideas in the chat of what you guys are going to be working on. So last but not least, today we're going to talk about inspired action. So it's not just taking action. And everybody knows what I mean when you show up to your calendar and you're like, I have to do it because my calendar says I have to do it. So now I'm going to do it begrudgingly. And what we need to do is do it in the state of the goal achieved. So I have a little formula for you, which I call inspired action, that I'd like you guys to do before you go and do the thing. First, what is the desired outcome? So we've been working all week on setting intentions. So what is your desired outcome? So I love it. I'm just going to read the chat here. These are my 3 key pieces: marketing. It's moving quickly. New eyes on my work. Love it. Yes. Increasing your influence and your brand visibility and awareness. Love that. Sales, new clients, patients purchasing. Perfect. And then procedures, allowing for spending less time on one-on-one visits. Yes, 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 yes. I love that. Simple, simple, simple. Keep things simple. The more we complicate it, the harder it gets. In business, it's always about going back to those basics. So 6 key things I talked about: sales and serving, marketing and branding, operations and management, development and research. It's actually 8. And so keep it simple and go back to that framework. Those are the things that need to work for the business. Go back to the foundations, the fundamentals, and build from there. So I love that, Dr. Mott. Love it. Okay. So we have another one. So amazing, Colleen. Sales, LinkedIn posting, offering coaching. Love it. That's specific. Nailed it. Write and post and ask folks to share. Perfect. Marketing, go through SOS emails, journalist requests. I'm on that list now. Love it. Each week and write pitches. Oh, see, and that would have to be a container in the calendar because I'm getting the email, but there's no container in the calendar right now where I could actually go in, look at what they need and answer them. So that would have to be a new container in my calendar. Another thing I had to learn is my emails are taking much longer. And so I had to even increase the container for replying to emails because I would like to get back to people in a timely manner. And I have not had the container to do that as of yesterday. It's set up now. And you're writing new pitches with that each week. I love it. I'll come back to that in a second. And then process, create a workflow, and identify challenges and resolve them. I love that. Perfect. Yes, everyone's working on the basics, which are what allow us to scale and grow. This has made me realize I don't have an email container, so I definitely need to do that. Yes, I love a container at the beginning of the day, so I call it my open office and then my close office, where I do my best to get back to messages, emails. Instead of answering them as I come in all day long, we have a container at the front of the day and a container at the end of the day. I can't remember exactly what SOS stands for. Colleen, if you want to drop that in the chat. When we were networking at the forum, there we go. I don't remember what it stands for, but it's a service where journalists request sources of sources. Yes, there we go. So it's a service where journalists request pitches from experts in a variety of areas. So you can put in your input and help answer questions. And they have different ones, right? Like they have requests from all different places where you could then get your feature in, which helps with your SEO. Because remember, you and your website are in the middle, and everything it's connected to is telling Google search or any search engine that this is a valid site, this person is an expert in their zone of genius, and we're going to put them at the top of the search. So it actually helps you become in that category 1, the more things you are connected to. That's why PR, marketing, features, all those things are really important to have in our calendar as well. They link back to you and you can link to them. And I put the logos on my About Me page too. Love it. Okay, and Janine's doing sales, promotion, share programs for grief to hope sessions. I love that. Love it. You guys are awesome. So everyone's going to get into action. So now let's talk about the type of action. It's inspired action. So before you go to do the thing, when you sit down at the container in your calendar or your time block, you first decide, what's my desired outcome from this activity today? Right? Most of us just are like, gotta get into the next action. No. Well, I want you to actually pause. What's your desired outcome? And then remember, we made a future memory yesterday. So how do we create a future memory? We take ourselves 15 minutes past the state of the goal achieved. So you'd visualize yourself at the end of this container. And what is the outcome that you want from it? If we are doing promotions and sales, maybe it's 5 new connect calls booked, 5 new consult calls booked, 5 new leads in conversation. What's that desired outcome? So every time I send an email out, I'm thinking about what's my desired outcome from this email. Do I want more calls booked, more sales? Do I want people to look at the things that I'm showing them, to check out the resources I've shared? And then I always encourage you to ask yourself, if I were to know, what would be the one next best thing I can do to achieve this goal that makes everything else easy, unnecessary, or obsolete with the least amount of time, energy, and effort? And always leave space for intuition. So, of course, when we're creating the containers, we're going through that question. And then also before you go to do the thing, I want you to practice using your intuition, because you might get an intuitive hit to reach out to this certain person instead of following the people on your list. And they're like, you know what? I was just thinking about you. I really need to get started back up again. I've been struggling with A, B, C, and D. And this is actually how I've closed a lot of my high ticket clients or reactivated people, is I've sat with it. I've set my intention. I take myself past the 15 minutes of the goal achieved. I ask, what is the next best step for me? What's the next best action? Oh, it's not actually to do that at this very moment. I'm going to reach out to this person. And sometimes the intuition leads you on a little goose chase, right? It says, oh, message this person, but that person was actually to connect you to this person. So we wish it came out with like a sign that says, here is exactly what you need to do. We have to follow the signs and the synchronicities and follow that intuition. And before you go and take the action, when you're creating that future memory, you're closing your eyes and you're visualizing how you want the outcome to be so that you can get into the feeling of it. And then you go and do the thing. Any questions on inspired action? I love it. So Janine's also going to do process planning, researching. Love it. Awesome. Make a list. Check that off. Good, good, good. Okay. So we all know what our 3 key concepts are. We have 3 actions that we're going to take from it right now. We're going to go create the container in our calendar. And then before we go to do the action, we're going to pause and we're going to set our intentions, create a future memory, and confirm with our intuition if this is what we're supposed to do first. Sounds good? Give me a yes in the chat if we all agree. We are all committing to taking the actions that we just put in the chat. I saw yeah, like, yes, I commit. Yes, awesome. You guys are amazing. Now, the rest is up to you, right? You have to keep that promise to yourself. And so you're going to go to do the thing, and a little voice in your head or a story or something is going to come up that's going to want you to not do it, because on the other side of that action is the next best version of you, the next best outcome, which is now outside our comfort zone and above our unconscious glass ceiling. And so I want you to remember up here, we have 3 voices. And I say remember, but I haven't taught it yet this time. Just feel like we want to talk about it. So you've got your ego. Its job is to keep you safe and the same. You have your higher self. It feels like a knowing. There's no emotions with it. That's your intuition. And then you have your personality or your belief system. Okay. And with the personality, we all have like an act. Mine is to get defensive. Some people have a pity party. Okay. But there's different voices going on. And what we need to pay attention to is that higher self. Okay. So I need you to tap in when you go to do the thing that we're listening to the higher self and not the stories. And so I want to challenge you guys to label the other names. That personality, the belief system, I want you to give it a name. Mine is Sally, And then I have my higher self. And I want you to remember most of the time you wouldn't be friends with Sally. The way she talks to you, the way she puts you down, the judgments, the buts, how she says you can't, how it's going to be hard. I want you just to cancel, cancel, cancel. Remember, it's like a fly swatter. We say, thank you. We understand you try to keep us safe. And here's what I would prefer. Okay, so just wanted to throw that in as an extra today. Now, if you're ready to keep the momentum going, you must come back tomorrow for our open house mastermind session. It's going to be amazing. We have 2 more bonus sessions next week. Why I've decided to put them as next week is because what I really want people to do is practice staying in the state of the goal achieved and practice owning their thoughts all weekend long. So if Sally gets loud on the weekend, we're going to cancel, 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 and go back to what we prefer. Now, if you're ready to get the momentum going right now, I would love to invite you to come and join us inside the Own It Collective. This is our signature 6-month group program where we meet weekly in a 75 to 90-minute session, and I am either teaching myself or we have guest experts, as well as we do co-working sessions with hot seats. And this magical opportunity it's so much fun. The community is amazing. But what it's really going to help you do is build out that foundation that we talked about, the sales and serving, the operations and management, the development and research, and your marketing and branding. We want to make sure that we have these things in place. And that sounds fun. You're like, ooh, yay, that's great. But the outcome of that is scaling, growth, serving more, increased sales, increased revenue. What does that allow? It allows you to build that dream business around your dream life and not the other way around. And instead of me ranting on about it, because I could go on forever and ever, we're going to bring on a guest. So we have a special guest for you today, Ren, who we're going to bring on to share with you a little bit about her experience of working with us. And she's going to share her kind of before and after. So welcome, Ren.
Thank you, Heather.
I'm so glad to have you here. So introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name's Ren. I'm a yoga teacher and a DJ and a wellness curator put together. And I'm passionate about blending music, movement, mindfulness all into one transformative experience. I create custom yoga classes and I host sober social events. And I really want to create these spaces that are inclusive and chill and are built for deep discovery of yourself and with your community. And my mission is simple now that I know it. It's harmonizing wellness and entertainment. And then just creating experiences that inspire growth, connection, and transformation.
I love that growth, connection, and transformation. And Ren and I met at a retreat that I used to teach at, and it was such a great opportunity. She was a fellow yoga instructor there, and we connected. And then she jumped in to the Own It Collective almost a year and a half ago now. She's done her rapid breakthrough. We continue with some one-on-one mastery mentorship, and she is an integral part of our community, bringing her beautiful smile and energy with her always. So I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to work with you and for you to share with people kind of like your before and after. But before we do that, what had you jump in?
Okay. I think before I met Heather, I was playing I had discovered what my passions in life were, but I was playing it very small. I always say that. Before I got into the collective, I just didn't think I could do this. This dream could be something that I could live off of and just I just didn't embrace it as my truth, So I was playing it small. So before this, and why I work with this is because the biggest thing is I value the way Heather lives her truth. For me, like I met her at the retreat, and from that day to months past, she has just been so authentic, so real. Her actions and her words reflect the wisdom of someone who has truly transformed knowledge into wisdom and now into mastery. So I admire her energy, gets me out of everything that all the bog downs, and the consistency, the positivity, the intelligence, it's there. And there's also clarity and intention behind her teaching. So I think she and her offerings embody these qualities, and I know I'm in good hands. And yeah, so working with Heather in the with the Own It Empire for me has provided me with tools, insight, and support to clarify my vision. I was very unsure of certain things, and I've been clarified. I also have aligned with my highest self, just trusted and surrendered. And then it's taking tangible steps towards that. It's great to do all this like spiritual work, but you really need to know the know-how in this reality. So for me, it's life coaching infused with business acumen. And it's just empowering me to believe that I can do anything, but also how to make that happen. Like I can believe it. I can be in a state of possibility. I understand that I can like just be there, like, wow, that's amazing. But then also let's do it. Let's know how to do it. And that connection for me is why I continue working with Heather.
Yeah, and I love that because for a lot of people, it stays up an idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
We might dream big, but how? Like, where do we get started? And that's where we reverse engineer into like, what's the simplest action we could get started with right now? We do that with our Quantum Leap Blueprint. And now is a great time to join us because we review it every quarter. And let's kick off Q2 with momentum. We're also going to clear and cut the first quarter so we can leave behind anything that doesn't serve us. And what would you say is your biggest win so far?
My biggest win so far is hosting my first in-person Soul Sync Social. That's my signature sober social. So it was always something that I had in my mind. I think maybe like 10 years in entertainment in my mind, but I hosted it and it was such a milestone to see me at an event that really aligned with all parts of me. So the fun and the social aspect, but the sobriety and the wellness, just also just hanging out there, like not being, like awkward Sally or something, like, awkward Anna or whatever. Mine is scary Sherry. Like that's my ego.
I
Like I
love that.
have to meet her early in the morning and have her sit down and just calm her down with some tea. Today we had a good time, but yeah, scary Sherry for me is she's there, and I told her we can do the damn thing. And I didn't realize what was the best gift from that was first you kind of bring a part of you into this world. You like birth a version of yourself. You see her working and like, and then there were people who were like, I need this. And I was like, oh, there's so much part of your dream that's so much you wanting to do it. And I did, and it was really good to know that I could do it, but also that people needed it. That was another level of fuel. So it gave me the confidence to like keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing
And
it.
what I love is that you also attracted a beautiful crystal store to host it in.
Oh yeah, my favorite crystal store.
Yeah. And so it just turns out her favorite crystal store has this beautiful co-working space in the back where she was able to host it. And I'm talking like I saw the video, I haven't been there, but there was like amethyst taller than I was, or I am like, I'm talking crystal store. And this is the magic where we can attract the right people, places, circumstances, and opportunities when we're not only in the energy, we're also in the action.
Agreed.
Yeah, I love it. Amazing. And I can't wait for the next one. And so let's just do a little like before and after. Like, what was life like in before and what is different now?
So what it was after was I think I was like world's number one assistant. Like I used to I call myself the kingmaker slash queenmaker. I used to work in as a artist manager. So I just nurtured the heck out of artists to like show up as their best selves, but I never put that energy into myself. So I think that was me before. And I always just thought I would be great support. Like it's not a bad thing to be great support, but there's also a part of you that was like presently like unfulfilled, not supporting yourself. So now that I've done that journey, I am now like getting more comfortable with saying that I am a creator. I am the queen or the king of my own life, versus just being always on the support side,
Be the star of your own
Yes.
show.
Yes. I'm the star of my own show. And like I have a healthy ego. I check it all the time. But showing up as what I used to show up for my artists is like a beautiful feeling. I'm falling in love with myself from like a different angle. So I think it went from supporter to creator, and just being and like just being okay with that, just being like great with that title for yourself. Yeah,
Ah, I love
that's
it.
and the quickest one I will tell you before.
Allowing yourself to shine.
Yeah,
Yeah, and you have so much light to shine. You got to share it with the world.
thanks.
You're welcome. And why would you recommend that other people come and join us in the Own It Collective?
Okay, so I've done a couple of rounds now with Heather, and I will say to you that the space would be for you if um you never, like, if you've wanted support. Like, we all know we can do 101 things, right? We are like there, we're already there, like we're CEOs, like we manage all our own things. But I never experienced what support through those steps look like. It was all like I was my own support, I was my own IT, I was everything myself. And I was so intelligent, I'm like, I can do it by myself. But once I was just like, oh my God, when life got a little too overwhelming and I met Heather at the same time, and everything was like, oh my gosh, you like, actually life broke me down to accept Heather's help. And I said, I need help, and I need help. Like, it was just a simple thing of like, I need help. And I allowed myself to be helped. And I think that is something that you have to ask yourself, like, how are you doing? Would you benefit from someone just like being a little bit of a more of a cheerleader in your life? And it's not a friend, it's not a partner, it's like, that's okay. Like, you can come into this space, whether you work with Heather directly, it's okay. Like, because when I first came in, I did all her free classes first, and I was like, this is blowing my mind. Like, I cannot imagine what it would be like for her to be in my corner, for me to have access to her and like chat with her, and like a weekly community. Like, Lorraine, I love you, girl. Like, we've never met in person, but I look forward to seeing you and celebrating your wins. And I just didn't realize how much I needed a community. I just needed somebody to check in with every week, every month. Like, just somebody. It's hard for me because I've come from a long place of perfectionism, and I would say like just doing it all by myself. But now I'm like, I'm never gonna do it by myself. I want support, I want a coach, I want community, I want friends, I want someone to talk to, I want someone to check in with. I want someone who's like, Ren, let's talk, how are you doing, check in on me. I want that. So that's what you get if you wish.
I love it. I love it. Aw, Lorraine says, I feel the same. I love you guys. I love our community. And the beautiful thing about it is we work on you and not just your business. We understand that we are a whole being and our business is a whole. So we don't just do marketing or sales. We actually go through all the things we've already talked about: sales, serving, branding, marketing, operations, management, development, and research. And we have a couple great experts coming up. We even bring in some special events for you guys. We have coming up a somatic workshop to help us all calm our nervous systems so that we can go into the next quarter feeling so good and on that high frequency. I love it. I love this community too. Thanks, Lorraine. I'm so glad that you do. And there's so much magic happening. And I'm going to tell you all about that in a second because we have some incredible sign up bonuses for you guys. But is there anything else you would like to add today, Ren, and share with everyone?
Yeah, definitely. Just before you tell them everything, this is the last thing I will say. So I was in your place, like, just right there. And I had a lot of doubt of putting an investment in me. So anything that you're thinking about that, whatever is like, no, whatever your no's are, I would say like one of the craziest things I did was like, I just took a leap. Because I wasn't, I don't know if I had time. I definitely didn't have the money. I was like, what the heck? All these obstacles. I just did what Heather asked. She's just like, email me, just email me. And I just had that email and I told her everything. And then we just chatted. And that's what I would suggest you do. Just, if everything seems
Yeah.
so overwhelming, crazy, too good to be true, blah, 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 my testimonial, look at this girl, whatever, whatever. As you're like just siphoning all the information and it's resonating, and just talk to her, whatever the obstacles are, whatever. I had 100 million excuses to say no. So just send an email and see what happens. I'll tell you, when you ask, the teacher will show up, and this could be that opportunity. If you're here for a reason. And whether and see where that falls. That's what I would just say.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing, Ren, and you're doing amazing. I can't wait to watch what you create in 2025 and beyond. Let's keep making the magic happen. Thank you so much, Ren.
Thanks.
Oh, thank you. Amazing. So I want to share some special bonuses that we have going on for you guys. So during our events, we often create what we like to call fast action bonuses and sign up bonuses. So, and of course, there's some great case studies. There's a testimonial from Ren on here. We have Stephanie, who used to be a teacher. Now she's a high hydroxy coach, which is kind of like a Spartan race, but for CrossFit. Her and her husband do it together. She also does corporate wellness. She's a nutritionist. She's local here in Newmarket, and I've been able to watch her thrive and grow. And so many other incredible people. And so there's some great information for you guys on here. There's the beautiful Ren. And then we got our fast action bonuses. So let's talk about what that is. So we have sign up bonuses and fast action bonuses. So the sign up bonus is so anyone who signs up before April and pays in full, which is only $3,330 Canadian, taxes included. You're going to get 6 months access to Success Principle Society. So if you want to come and join us in Success Principles Society, you're welcome to do that. Absolutely. It's 3-month commitment with monthly masterminds, and you get access to the 6 core self-study lessons. Now, that's for 3 months. Now, when you're joining inside the Own It Collective, whether you pay in full or you do the payment plan, everybody gets that. So outside of our weekly group coaching calls, we actually meet for masterminds as well twice a month, and those are not recorded. That's for us to hold ourselves accountable, keep our promises to ourselves, and share our knowledge with each other and resources and support one another. When you're signing up in full before the end of the month, you're also going to get, are you ready for it? This I'm super excited about. This is an incredible gift. This may be done in over 1 or 2 sessions. It is an NLP goal alignment session where we're going to go through a series of questions to identify your goal, identify the state of your goal, and identify what has you blocked, and identify the limiting beliefs so that we can have clarity on what we prefer and what actually is blocking us. And then I'm going to use an NLP technique to help blow out that top first belief. So not timeline therapy, it's a different technique to help blow out that first key negative limiting belief for you. And that's a value of over $1,800. Now, when you're signing up before the end of the workshop, so that means before Wednesday of next week, you're also going to get coaching with me, one-on-one coaching. So you're going to get a monthly power hour session with me, which is a value of almost $2,400, so that I can support you and we can meet together once a month and work together one-on-one, whether it's self or business mastery, strategies, whatever you need. I meet you where you're at. If you're not sure, I have the questions, and we will create what we call a task or an action for you to complete after the session. And then we keep that momentum going. So when you're signing up this month before the end of this workshop, so before next Wednesday, you're going to get over $4,200 in sign-up bonuses. This is my gift to you guys. Yeah, like huge. I see Ren's dancing. This is my gift to you. You're going to get incredible value of one-on-one coaching along with the group program, as well as the Success Principles Society Mastermind and self-study course. And if it seems overwhelming, don't worry. That's why we have our first session. I will guide you one-on-one together. I will show you where to go. If you're like, I need to work on marketing right now, I'll give you the lesson for that. If you're like, it's sales, I'll give you the lesson for that. We have what you need, and we'll direct you to make sure that you can stay focused and prioritized and organized. Now, if you want to jump in on the payment plan, which is only $555 Canadian, taxes included, each month for 6 months, of course, you're going to get that Success Principle Society for all 6 months. And you're also going to get a private one-on-one kickoff call with me. And so this is going to be our kickoff call to make sure that we know exactly what you need and get you exactly what you need in the program, and also review everything where you are. So we always need to identify current state, identify the future state, what we would like to be in 6 months, and then fill the gap so that we know how to get from A to Z. And so we have that kickoff call plus Success Principle Society when you're joining on the payment plan this month, and that's a value of almost $1,300. Now, when you're joining before the end of the workshop, so before Wednesday next week on the payment plan, you're also going to get a monthly mentorship session with me for 30 minutes each month, which is a value of almost $1,200. So it's a value of almost $2,500 in total. So when you're signing up before next Wednesday on the payment plan, which is going to give you one-on-one coaching with me. Again, my gift to you, because I want to lock arms with you so that we can ensure that you're not only getting to where you want to go, you're doing it with more peace, more ease. You're taking your calendar back. You're owning your health. You're owning your mindset. You're building the skill set. You're building a company and a business that you love, that helps you live your purpose around your dream life, and not the other way around. I've done it myself, and I've seen many other people do it, where we build ourselves another business, and another job within our business, instead of a business that serves us and the lifestyle that we desire. So we want to help to make sure that you get a big win in the beginning as soon as you guys join us. And so that's why, whether you're in Success Principle Society, whether you're in the Own It Collective, or if you're in the Mastery Mentorship with me, everybody gets Success Principle Society 6 core lessons. And the 6 core lessons, own your vision and own your goal, are the first 2 that you're going to go through. So we cast a vision that guides us, our North Star, that also inspires us and motivates us. And then we fill out the Quantum Leap blueprint together, so that we not only have an idea, we have a plan with actions in place. So we take that idea and we reverse engineer it into where we want to go. And so that's the magic, and when we want to help you come into the program with and do in the first 30 days, so that we not only have 2025 fully mapped out, but you know exactly what you're going to do in Q2. Now, this is important because what you do now shows up in your results 90 days from now. So if you want Q3 to be really successful, it means, how do you own Q2? So we have also happy spring equinox. I was just going to say, we have like 11 days left in this month. It's spring today. Woo-hoo! Thank goodness. And we have about 10, 11 days left in this quarter. So not only do we want to finish this quarter off strong, we want to kick off next quarter with momentum and own next quarter, so that Q3 is successful and joyful, and so that we can own our summer and build the business that serves us. I know some people want to take a sabbatical. How do we set our business up for that? And just a reminder that if you are jumping in by the end of this workshop, next Wednesday is our first mastermind session. So whether you're joining us in Success Principle Society or the Own It Collective, because the Own It Collective, you also get Success Principle Society as a gift, we have our first mastermind on Wednesday. So you could already be masterminding with us. And next Thursday, we have a guest lecture. And I'm super excited and would love for you guys all to be on the Own It Collective guest lecture next week, because it's super important. So how do we build our businesses that aren't fully relying on leads from social media? SEO. and keyword research. So we have a guest lecture coming in next week to do a little workshop with you guys to help you with your SEO and to help sure that you're using your keywords. So if you use YouTube or you do reels, videos get used in search engines. Let's make sure that we're using search engine optimization and keywords so that we can know whether it's on our website, in our content, or whatever it is, articles, that we're using words that help us pop up on that first page of the search engine, because we know most people don't go to page 2, right? So how do we get to page 1? And so we have that guest lecture for you guys next week. So we would love for you to come and join us inside the Own It Collective. Of course, book your free vision casting call still. That is for us to strategize and visualize. And if you are sitting on the fence and you're not sure, just send me an email or book a free consultation call. I'd love to chat with you guys. I sent a consultation call link out in the email yesterday, and I can do that again for you guys with the replay today. So I invite you to book that consultation call. And just a reminder, come back tomorrow. We have our open house mastermind session, and it's not recorded, it's not casted, it's simply masterminding, and it's so fun. So I can't wait to see you all there. And then I'll see you guys at the bonus sessions next week. And just a reminder, because this is on the replay, take a big deep breath. Expect magic and miracles and ask yourself, what is the best that can happen? May you stay in a state of peace and possibility and be on that hero's journey. And we'll see you guys back tomorrow. Thank you so much for your time and energy today, and have a very blissful day. Stay happy, healthy, wealthy. Thank you.